Get this showing up. Okay. Welcome, everybody, this morning to the West Grey Council meeting. Call the meeting to order at 9 o'clock. Surprisingly for me, right on time. If you could, I'd like you to please rise and we'll take a moment of reflection before we begin the duties of the day. Amen. Thank you. At this time, I'll ask Ms. Noble, as we are live streaming the proceedings today, to give anybody that's online the opportunity and the knowledge of how to join us. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. And through you, Mayor Eccles, before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to West Grey Communications, and I will attempt to assist you.
Thank you very much, Ashley. We'll ask any of the members of council, is there any declaration of pecuniary interest in the nature thereof? Seeing none, if it does arise, can be declared at any time. We have two kind of delegations or one delegation and one presentation, and I'm going to start with the presentation. And how can I do this? I think the best way is I'm going to come out in front and I'm going to ask our individual who has been nominated and declared the 2025 Senior of the Year. This young lady, who I was very surprised was qualified as a senior, has done a tremendous amount of work and advocacy for seniors, and has participated in the community, more specifically the community of Newstead, but has led seniors in Grey County on different projects, heavily involved with the Newstead Lions Club, the Newstead Horticultural Society, the Newstead Fall Fair, the Newstead Everything, I think. Anyways, we will, I would ask Ms. McLaughlin, Teresa, can you come forward, and I want to present you with this certificate. Yeah, yes, Teresa needs a couple of pictures, but I certainly, there is Ashley. Ms. McLaughlin, thank you very much for all that you've done for the community and all you've done for seniors. This is from the province of Ontario, and you were nominated and selected as the Senior of the Year for the municipality of West Grey. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anything to say?
Well, yeah, because I didn't realize you were talking about me when I was thinking. Well, this is an honor, and can you tell me who nominated me?
The municipality of West Grey.
Oh, well, thank you very, very much. I didn't realize that I stood out. But
Well-
anyway, this is a great honor, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so
Well,
very much.
Well deserved, well earned. And of course, you didn't realize that you were nominated because you're always doing so much for seniors. You never take time to recognize what you are doing. I hope this is a recognition of that.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very, very much.
Very, very welcome, Teresa.
Now, can I go? Thank you very much.
Lady that never slows down. I just wish that I could be half as energetic at my age as she is at her age. 4.2, we have a delegation this morning. Patrick Gossage. I think we've heard from Patrick, yes, just presently. Patrick is back to talk about another solar project. And I think well, you're well trained. You were here once already, so you've got it all down pat on how to use the podium. Apparently, we didn't train you well enough. You gotta turn the mic on.
Whatever you
Okay.
guys did to fix the roads and the bridges in the last 2 weeks to get me here on time, thank you for that. So yeah, back to talk about another solar project, all the same procurement rules that I spoke about with the last project apply. So the procurement is October 16th. We've already begun with community engagement, plan on having an open house at some point in July, probably the third week in July, and sharing with interested community members some finer details about this project. We had the open house last week at Don Lewis's farm, excuse me. So we had, I don't think any members from West Grey were able to make it, but we did have some folks from Chatsworth, the mayor and the deputy mayor from Chatsworth were there. Yeah, and happy at any point in time, should any councillors or mayor, if you'd like to do a deeper dive, Don Lewis is quite open to us doing a show and tell. They're super hospitable. So if that's of interest to anyone, more than happy to do that. We're super excited about this project, which is just south of Hanover. It's a cattle grazing project, which I think Doug asked me about last week. It's going to be a first of its kind in Ontario, certainly, possibly all of Canada, incorporating cattle grazing into a solar project. We've got a very, well, you won Innovative Farmer of the Year, I recall, in 2021, and Dr. Peter Kotzeff is continually trying to push the envelope on innovative farming practices. And so maybe I'll just step aside and let you talk to the project a little bit. Peter's the landowner on the site in Hanover.
Thanks, Patrick. I've got a few notes so that I can try to be complete with this presentation. I really don't like public presentations, so bear with me. I'm here to talk about Clearwater Agrivoltaics. It's a cattle grazing solar energy project, and I emphasize cattle grazing as this project. A quick history on myself. Yes, I recently won the Innovative Farmer of the Year award. It recognizes innovative practices, soil health benefits, and environmental stewardship, and that has been my focus on my operation. I was a large animal practitioner out of Chesley. I sold a practice about 10 years ago, and I'm involved with my farming operation. It's about 2,200 acres. Half of it is cash crops, a quarter is grazing, and a quarter is set aside land, woodland, wetland, and Saugeen River drainage. I also won in the past, won the Beef Farm of Ontario Grazer of the Year Award and the Beef Farm of Ontario Environmental Stewardship Award. So you can tell from that what my focus is. The site in question is a farm just west of Grey Road 3 on Normanby Concession 18. Just past that bridge is closed, and it's on both sides of the road. And the Saugeen River bisects the property. It's the northern boundary of this proposed project. It's about 1.5 kilometers long, about a mile long. And the Saugeen River there is just a magnificent river. You know, it's the Beatty Saugeen. It's gravel bottom. The water is clear. Of course, it's forested on both sides. I keep the cattle away from both sides. And that part of the river is still swimmable. And, you know, that is something that we should not take for granted. You know, a swimmable river is becoming rarer and rarer. You know, I was in New Zealand. My daughter lives there. I've been there for a couple trips. And New Zealand, sort of the pristine country, right? Most of those rivers are unswimmable. So that we have a swimmable river here in West Grey is something that we should be aware of. So as far as I'm concerned, this project is a win-win under all circumstances. And the first win is for the river. By turning this land back into grassland, the benefits to the river are immense. First of all, the runoff will be clean. A grazing operation has minimal to zero inputs as far as herbicides, pesticides, and fertilizer. And also by reverting it back to grassland, it helps sort of filtrate the water and let the water run off slowly. So it maintains the water table and also maintains the river levels. So you don't get that huge surge, you know, by grasslands prevent that huge surge in the spring, so those floodings, and also maintain the water level through the critical times in the late summer. So first of all, it's a win for the river, okay? The next thing, it's a win for the environment. By reverting the land back to grassland, it allows a whole bunch of natural habitats to coexist with the grazing operation. You know, native pollinators we've heard a lot about, you know, wildlife, birds, reptiles, mammals, that whole system can stay with grasslands. So that's just the grazing operation. Because of the benefits of this project, I'm planning on setting aside sequentially parts of the project and letting it stay as natural habitat. I can't leave it all as natural habitat. We have to have some grazing pressure to maintain the grassland and to maintain the integrity of the project. But certainly I can set aside parts of it. It's a win for the beef community in Ontario. It allows me to graze cattle. And, you know, the benefits allow me to continue grazing cattle, and it benefits the general beef industry in Ontario. I'm grazing cattle, so I still support all the suppliers. You know, all the suppliers, whether they're veterinarians, you know, for feed supply stores, everything else. It is not sort of an industrial wasteland. It's a farming operation still. So it's a win for myself as a farmer. It's a win for the farming community. And finally, it's a win for the community as a whole. I mean, the increased tax revenue from this project will help the whole community. You know, basically, and a prime example is that closed bridge right beside there. You know, that it will help improve the tax base and help the community. I have not found any negative connotations to this project, both environmentally and for the community and for the neighbors. There's only one neighbor impacted for this project, and he's been offered to participate in it. And I'm committed to, there's ways we can landscape things to minimize the visual impact on my neighbor. And I'm not even sure if a visual impact is an issue, because, you know, as I was driving down here, there's power lines on every road. They're an eyesore, we don't even notice it. You know, we need energy. So that's the one thing. And this particular site, if you go by it, you have to go from the west in. Both sides of the road are overgrown with pine trees, mostly pine trees and some shrubs. I don't mind one bit. It's municipality set aside. It's overgrown. I like it there. Just leave it there as far as I'm concerned. You can't even see the farmland right now if you drive by through most places. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a win-win under all circumstances. Win for the river, win for the environment, win for the beef community, and win for the you know, the residents of West Gray. Yeah, and so that's it in a nutshell. Are there any questions?
Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, thank you for your project. Sounds exciting. Sounds like you're going about it the right way. I'm just curious about the panels, given that a lot of the panels now are used grazing for sheep. So with the cattle ones, are the panels higher? Are they spaced differently? How does that look compared to the traditional?
So this is a work in progress. And I'm committed to doing this. This is not a solar project and we'll try to put cattle in. This is a cattle project with solar on with it. There is an operation in the US. There's a variety. You know, solar farms and cattle grazing is the holy grail of solar operations, right? There are some experimental things, subsidized experimental projects in the US where they're putting massive solar panels up that are on heavy supports, you know, high enough so the cattle can't reach them. They are super expensive. And as Patrick has probably mentioned to you, this is a non-subsidized project. This project has to work on its economic merits. Okay, it's not going to cost the taxpayers any money. It's going to have to work on its own. It has to be competitive that way. There's an operation in the US that are grazing cattle on existing panels, on existing solar operations that were not specifically designed for cattle. And they've got a system in place and we are in the process of talking to them and finding out what that mechanism is. The beauty of this project is that it's not going to be an afterthought. We're designing this with a cattle grazing project in mind. You know, we're already thinking about the water layout, the animal welfare connotations. We're going to have, you know, a handling system in place. The watering system will be put in place. I'm actually thinking about getting solar neck tags to use at the control grazing. My whole operation, you know, the cattle I run, we move them every 2 or 3 days. So we'll try to do the same idea with this operation. And so we can make minimal design changes that are not cost prohibitive for this system. And the one I'm thinking about, we're gonna have to just think carefully how the wiring harness is going to be set up so these cattle don't impact the wiring harness. But as far as the most expensive part, the structure that these panels are supported on, I think we can do that in a cost-effective manner and learn to manage the cattle around that. So yeah.
Maybe I can just add a little bit onto that. So the intention, and we've been consulting with this group out of the US who's one of their main points is a lot of the management is around operation. So less so about additional steel for the support structures and more having the right cattle, teasing out the cattle that are the naughty one. You know, according to these folks, there's a few problem cattle in every herd, and just teasing those out goes a hell of a long way to preserving the systems. Also, these are going to be variable tilt systems. So when the cattle are grazing in a particular area, we can tabletop the structure. You lose a little bit of energy generation, but we're talking 2% in that particular area. And so that's the intent it's more around operations as opposed to, you know, there will be some considerations that Peter spoke to about water management, corrals, which we're able to do upfront because this is a greenfield project, whereas a lot of the projects to date have been just retrofit into existing. But yeah, it's a lot around operations. And we're lucky to have a farmer who cares about the operation. So part of this project, we are ironing out a cattle grazing contract where we will pay Peter for the cattle grazing services.
Anything else? This project is not an absolute goal.
No.
There's an application just
Yeah.
so I'm clear.
Yeah.
The application and you're here, part of it is the endorsement to IESO
Correct.
from the municipality.
Correct. One of the requirements for us just to be able to submit a bid in October, mid-October, is to have the consent of West Gray in the form of a municipal support resolution. Like I said last time, there's no expectation that I'm walking away from here with that document. It's more to just introduce the project. That's what today is about. We're going to have, as mentioned, an open house to engage with the community and hopefully some counselors. At that meeting, we'll have some 3D renderings of what the site will look like. We've engaged Dillon Consulting to do environmental analysis, look at bird species at risk, and that will all be packaged together and ready to go for our open house. So we'll have a little more detail, but this is just to, give you the heads up.
I was looking 2 weeks ago, Peter, you introduced the idea that you were going to build a couple of bridges. Ironic, so you can start right there on that.
Yeah. Well, it'd be useful for us and you. If we get to the construction phase for sure. So yeah, no, certainly something we can look at.
Well, yes, it is one that, the bridge is closed there anyways.
I mean, the one thing about that bridge being closed is there's not a lot of traffic that goes through where the project currently is. So
now would be the best time for you to do your traffic count.
Yeah,
on that.
totally.
Peter, right? Yeah.
Quickly.
Fred Gerson might be the only, is one that goes up and down. Know the area quite well and have watched for many years as I lived just down the road from where you are there on the 16th. Peter, so I've watched, I was on the 17th, not the 16th, and traveled that road many times and watched your cattle pasture there and some of your innovative ideas on green crop and pasturing cattle on into December on times for Mr. Schaus. So anyways, look forward to it. And we look forward, I guess, to moving forward and the request coming from you for the endorsement of the council.
Yeah.
How we'll deal with that when it comes forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll continue to engage with the municipality, keep you apprised when the open house is happening. Very available to chat at the drop of a hat on the phone or however. We'll move forward from here.
And my apologies for myself not being there, and apologize, I guess, for council on your open house.
I think it
Happened
would
to be on a very important open house that we had.
I heard. Yeah, I heard
it
the
was
timing
great
wasn't
timing.
great,
The
but
timing didn't
yeah.
fit well for us, but I've heard it was attended well.
Yep.
And I've spoken to the mayor of Chatsworth. And anyways, we will look forward to continuing working with you and information as it comes forward.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. I'll leave my phone number in the office here if anyone has any questions for me personally or wants a visit at the site. I'd be happy to show anyone and have a look at it.
Excellent.
Very good. Thank
Very
you.
good. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Max.
All right. Moves us down to number 5 on the agenda, public meeting, and I don't believe we have a public meeting for this part of council today. Comment period. I'm going to look to Ashley. Is there anybody online that has comments today? Very good. No one in the audience? That can be taken either way. Adoption of the minutes. Number 7. We have 2 sets of minutes from the regular council meeting on June 3rd and the special council meeting on June 10th. can be done under one motion. Moved by Councillor Townsend, seconded by Councillor Forrester. Thank you. To accept the two sets of minutes as presented. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Committee and board reports. We have a set of board report or committee reports to receive from the Priceville Improvement Committee. Priceville Stoddard Hall is there. Looking forward. They've got their July 1st functions are on play. Councillor Hutchison sits on that. We have a motion to receive those for comments. Go ahead, Doug. Yep. Okay. I got it.
Yeah, I'll move that and also like to announce that they're planning again July 1st, Priceville, and I believe the Durham Lions are also having theirs that same day, which people have a choice. So Ian Leith is going to be the entertainment. Ian Leith and Friends. So some of you may know him. He's a very talented fiddle player. Yeah, look forward to that evening.
Thank you. Doug, Priceville's on the border and whatnot. I did see through the minutes, the Westbury Police will have a presence there trying for traffic. One of the 2 times of the year that Priceville has a traffic issue. So there, I've done that for you, Doug. The police have been warned already. Yep. We'll let the chief. Oh, that's right. Yeah, July 1st. We'll let the new chief know about that, and he can look after that. Thank you. A seconder for the minutes. Deputy Mayor Hutchison, to receive the minutes from the Priceville Improvement Committee. Any comments on the motion? Joyce. Councillor
Thank
Newton.
you. It mentions that this accessibility for the Stoddard Hall, is that just like bringing in like for disability, like ramps or whatever, or is it like a whole revamp with the hall? And I was kind of wondering, is that going to be looked at for the 2026 budget?
Yeah, it's been in the works for a number of years. They have a design where they're going to build a ramp on the west side of the building so that you can access upper floor and lower floor. The fortunate thing when they built that hall, they've got stairs no matter which way you go. So that's what they've been looking at. Unfortunately, their representative from Greyhounds wasn't at the meeting, but it's on the radar. They're looking at it. The unfortunate thing is, like a lot of these small halls, is how much money do you put into them going forward? So they're hoping that this project's still going to go ahead. I don't know. They haven't come to us and asked for any monies at this point. They're still sort of getting some estimates and figuring out how much it's going to cost and how they're going to bring it all together. So once I know, I'll bring it back. It's possible that they might be looking at doing something next year, but I don't know that at this point.
Okay, good question. Anything else? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Correspondence. Number of correspondence in the package. We'll start with 9.1.1. Is a request for the pride flag in June. And that is there to fly that. Do you want to deal with that one? Doug?
I just have a question that I had raised to staff about. I know we had this discussion before, but that we were looking at a policy regarding flying flags because it has come up before, and we talked about, whether we should be looking at just maintaining our flag, provincial and federal, and leave it at that, and not get into all the different organizations that want us to fly our flag, but I don't know if we got that far and maybe staff can comment at where we are in terms of the policy. But that's something that I wondered about when I read this.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Eccles. So at the time of budget last year, staff had put in an item for community flagpole that was removed from the budget during the 2025 budget deliberations, and the flag policy was more or less part and parcel with the flagpole. So given that there is no community flagpole, the policy on flags in West Grey was put on hold until such time as we could figure out whether or not we would be moving forward with the community flagpole in the future.
Councillor Shay, Jeff?
No, that notwithstanding, we have managed somehow with our existing pole arrangement, been able to fly the pride flag for several years, ongoing. And I thought we had a discussion a few years ago about making it an automatic annual thing that didn't have to be discussed and debated every year. But I talked with the mayor and he didn't have any recollection of us having done that. So I assume we haven't done that. So I would like to move that we continue to fly the pride flag as we have over the last several years this year, while we continue to have a discussion about a flag policy. The month is well underway, so we would be just flying it for the remainder of the Pride Month. But I think that would be a better gesture than nothing at all.
You got that as a motion, Jamie?
Through Mayor Eccles, just for clarity, in the past, since my time being with West Grey, each time we've flown the pride flag, we've had a motion from council and it's been specific to the year. So for example, we did have a motion in 2023 that was directing staff to fly the pride flag for the remainder of June that year. So just with respect to the wording, Councillor Shay, in your motion, as we've done it in the past, has been, it comes forward every year when someone brings that forward. So just to ensure that the motion accurately captures the request or the direction from council, is it that you would like to make your motion to direct staff to fly it every year for the month of June, every year for 2 months or 2 weeks in June, or just hoping to get some clarity on that specifically?
Go ahead, Jeff.
So I was asking to have it flown this year for the remainder of June. And that just as an addendum, I was mentioning that we will presumably have further discussion about a flag policy somewhere down the road. And that my recollection of us having done it on a regular annual, an ongoing thing, I think was before your time and possibly even before the mayor's time. Is there such a thing?
Let's go with a between time. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, you got that, Jamie? I think the gist of it. I need a seconder for Councillor Shay's motion. Councillor Forsberg. Okay, thanks, Scott. Any further questions or comments? Councillor Townsend.
Just wondering, because I mean, I did a simple Google search last night on awareness months, and if you look and do that, there's well over 100 different causes and different things that everybody has an awareness month of some sort, whether it's cancer and forms of cancer or you name it. There's an awareness month for it out there somewhere. And my big concern is the fact that, we do these things for a month, yet our veterans that laid down their lives in order that we can have these freedoms get one day. But yet we're celebrating some of these other causes for a month. So I have some concern with that. If we want to, we do, I think we do Legion Week. So that's a week for veterans, but that's about as far as we go. So I just find going a whole month for one cause a bit of a stretch, given that the people that fought to give us those freedoms get a day or maybe a week if they're lucky. So.
Okay. Point taken, and that will be in how we direct the policy going forward. All right, any other questions, comments? Sorry, Jamie. Yeah, you can.
Thank you. And through your Mayor, so just to ensure that I've got this correctly, council directs staff to fly the pride flag at the municipal office for the remainder of June 2025 while staff continue to investigate and develop a flag policy. Is that perfect?
Okay, we're good. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay. That was the one that we needed direction on. And correspondence. We have another 6 items in there. Is there any that we need to pull? Councillor Hutchison. Doug? I'll let you turn your mic on when you're ready.
Yeah, I don't request to pull any, but number 6, item number 6 is one that I just wanted to make a mention of, and I think we have a report further down regarding our garbage pickup and going forward in terms of proposal for service. Number 6 is an interesting one where there's a company in Brampton that's converting waste to energy, and I just wondered if that's maybe something we look at in the future in terms of trying to, save some of the space in our landfill. I know lots of places, Toronto in particular, ship to Michigan. So for us to ship to Brampton's a lot closer, though, again, it's trucks on the road. So just thought it was an interesting concept, and looks like they were looking for, I don't know, I haven't done all the research on it in terms of they're looking for other municipalities to get involved. Sounds like they have a huge intake. So I'm not sure where it all falls, but hope maybe our staff can look at it in the future, and when we start looking at proposals, or maybe they'll make a proposal towards our when we put that out there. So just thought that was interesting. Thanks.
Well, I think going forward into the agenda here, there's a couple of items, and we'll let staff think about what they're going to say when they get down to those 2 items that deal with waste and landfill operations. All right. I'll take it that there's none of the other ones need to be pulled. So I'll look for a motion to receive the correspondence as presented, the 6 items. Councillor Townsend, and the seconder, Councillor Shea. Thanks, Jeff. Any further questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. That brings us down to 10 staff reports. 10.1.1 is the integration staffing, integration of police functions. And Chief, this is your report. There you go.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. My report is very simple. As we've all read in the Owen Sound Sun Times, Owen Sound has their meeting yesterday, and they passed a motion to abandon our amalgamation, integration, merger talks at the present time. There has been some challenges from the Police Association. It was mentioned in their council from the West Grey side not supporting it, which does cause us a significant problem moving forward if we do not have the Labor Association's support. So my recommendations in council is to continue what we've been doing since 2019. The West Grey Police and Owen Sound Police have had very constructive talks about cost savings and the way we do business in terms of integration, our training, our information technology, our investigative supports. And at the present time, we are simply waiting for some guidelines from the Ministry of the Solicitor General on Section 14 agreements between municipal services so we can rewrite our memorandum of understanding for shared resources and assistance. So right now, I would recommend through my report that we abandoned, as Owen Sound did, our talks about emerging into a regional police service. But I would certainly like council's support for the new incoming chief designate White to continue talks with Chief Ambrose from Owen Sound on way that we can find cost savings through integrating and working together collaboratively to keep policing adequate and effective in both of our communities. That is my very brief report, Your Worship. Subject to any questions from yourself or any members of council, I am willing to answer anything.
Careful what you agree to. At anything. Comments, questions? Councillor Hutchison, Doug?
Yeah, so right from the get-go, when we first discussed about amalgamating or doing some discussions with Owen Sound, I couldn't see how it could really work. But I do believe that if there's a way of having cost savings through them, then that's great. I just wondered if we should be looking at expanding and looking at Saugeen Shores and Hanover and some of the other local police forces that we could maybe share some resources so that we can create some financial savings. So I'm not sure if that's something we can look at in the future, but just thought I would throw it out there. Thank you.
We've been doing that since 2019. Saugeen Shores, Hanover, Owen Sound ourselves, the First Nations community. We're on a working group. We meet once a month. We call emergency meetings, but we all are already doing these shared resourcing agreements. We have reached some good conclusions through our training. We've saved some money sharing training resources, trainers. It cuts the cost on our training and reduces the burden on the ratepayers for all 5 of the municipal services. I do include our First Nations in the municipal service, but we're already having those discussions and they will be continuing into the very near future. Chief Designate White is very aware of these discussions. He's been very active in these discussions, so he is fully versed in what is coming down the pipe and continue that path of the collaborative approach for policing in the dual counties.
Anything further? Then the recommendations are there. Do we have somebody that wants to move that as presented? Moved by Councillor Noon, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hutchison. Any comments, questions? Very good. I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you. Okay. That should be. Where's the next report? Our environmental officer. CEO. Combination report here on the Blue Box transition and waste collection. Ms. Huber.
Good morning, council. Can you all hear me?
She's good.
Yep.
She's good. Yep.
Okay. The following report is for information purposes. It is an update on Blue Box transition and waste collections. As you know, the Blue Box transitioned to producer responsibility in January of this year. Circular Materials took responsibility for the Blue Box so that the municipality no longer has financial or operational responsibility for that program. They awarded the contract for the collection of Blue Box materials to Waste Management of Canada, and they are administering that contract. Waste Management has had the pre-existing contract for that with the municipality of West Grey, and that contract is due to expire in June of 2026. Now with Circular Materials, excuse me, a little sore throat for the past little while here. Waste Management has advised as part of their contract with Circular Materials that they will be providing automated cart collection effective October of 2025. The existing curbside collection contract with Waste Management will continue to include the collection of manual bagged curbside collection for waste. And that will continue through the end of June of 2026. All communications related to the automated cart collection for recycling will be led by Circular Materials. And that will be shared via the municipality as soon as it is available from Circular Materials. So there's been regular inquiries from residents on that information, and as soon as we have it available, we will pass it along. And I know that it's definitely a topic as folks see it happening in neighboring municipalities, and we're doing our best to ensure people that, you know, we're going to pass the information along as soon as we do have it.
Very good. Questions? I'm going to start. Yep, go ahead. Joyce, Councillor Net.
Thank you, and thank you for the report. Just curious, the costs for the new bins that the Blue Box Circular is providing, is that a cost burden to the tax dollar, or are those free to the residents?
Thank you for the question. The cost of the carts is included in the Circular Materials contract that they have with Waste Management. So there is no cost to the municipality for any of the Blue Box collection contract.
Further to that, so I myself, like I've got 3 blue boxes, and I'm sure residents do, like there may be that question, like, what do I do now with these blue boxes? Or what are you doing? Like, I don't know how much inventory West Grey has for this giving or reselling of those. Like what's going to happen with all that inventory of blue boxes in West Grey?
At this point, what I've heard is that Circular Materials is encouraging that blue boxes that are currently in the possession of residences are being encouraged to be kept as storage containers. Any inventory that is owned by a municipality, they are able to dispose of as they see fit, whether that be selling it to another municipality or selling it for other purposes. So I've been investigating amongst my peer groups to see if there are any other municipalities that are interested in purchasing it, as ours are not branded. That may be an option that's easy to dispose of. Right now, I don't have any other information.
Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, so I see some technical issues that are going forward in terms of this process, because so now we have the blue box being picked up by a truck with bins, but yet we still have garbage to be picked up, which doesn't have bins. So my concern is, first of all, is that we're going to have 2 trucks running all over West Grey, one picking up recyclables and one picking up garbage for at least till the end of our contract. And then after that, who knows what would it look like? So maybe any response on that sort of thing? I did ask the question previous to the council.
Thank you for the question, and through the mayor to council. We have been having ongoing discussions with the service provider, in this case, Waste Management, because as everyone is aware, our collection contract prior to this new program being introduced for both waste and recycling was with the same provider. They did want us to have carts for waste pickup immediately, but it was going to be a very significant capital cost for the municipality at this time. It would be an unbudgeted cost. And at this point, we felt we had a contract with Waste Management to collect our household solid waste at curbside under their existing contract, and didn't believe it was necessary to incur significant capital costs, which is why in the subsequent report you will be seeing that we will be going out for an RFP if this council's wish to seek proposals on managing household solid waste. It is going to be a little bit complicated and not ideal having 2 trucks going out. However, for our ratepayers, we thought incurring significant cost without a fair and open procurement policy or process wouldn't be ideal.
So comes to mind, so if we're paying, we have a contract for waste management to pick up blue box and garbage. And now they won't be picking up as of the middle of summer, they won't be picking up blue box. So is there some way we can negotiate saying, okay, you're not picking up blue box, so that's a bit of a savings. So maybe we can put that towards some new bins or something if you end up with the contract down the road. I don't know, is there some manipulation of the contract that could happen there?
Thank you. And I can let our treasurer speak directly to it if you're looking at specific numbers, but the budget this year was reduced. We are not being charged for blue bin collection now that CMO has that responsibility. So in this year's budget, there was a reduction in our line item within the 2025 budget to take that into account.
Joyce, Councillor New.
In defense, or maybe defense isn't the right word, but I don't have a problem with it being picked up in separate trucks. When we went from 2 trucks initially, when we amalgamated, it was done well. It was sorted well. I don't know if you remember, but the box could be going on the side of the truck and they would sort everything accordingly. Then when Waste Management came in, then they amalgamated or they combined in a dual truck, garbage and recycling. And we've had we've had problems ever since. That recycling just is not done properly. So having now 2 separate trucks again, I'm hoping that the diversion rate for the blue box will be better because people have witnessed that they're not putting the recycling where the garbage should be. You know, maybe the recycling's full and they just want to get done. So it just hasn't been done properly. So in the interim for the rest of our contract, I don't have a problem. Yes, emissions is there, more trucking on our roads, but I think it's a fairer process when it comes to our garbage and recycling processing. Thank you.
Further, go ahead, Doug.
So the other thing that comes to mind is it talks in here that come January 1st, there's ineligible blue box, which the municipality is one of them, and facilities, daycares, not for profit, so on. So obviously we are, I guess it's through Waste Management that they're notifying people. What is our plan for all these other areas that are no longer picking up? We don't pick up their blue box. So how's that working?
Michelle.
Thank you. The complexity of this issue is fairly extensive, which is why this report here speaks to the transition for eligible collection. There's a report later in the meeting about going up for an RFP for proposals. And then we will be coming back with some recommendations to council likely in July on how to deal with the non-eligibles as well. There are a variety of ways to do it. So it's going to be a small component of this larger waste management piece. Waste management, lower W, lowercase m, as opposed to capital. But we have that on our radar and you will be getting information, but that will be a separate discussion.
Okay. I often wondered, Doug, you said something about the 2 trucks, you know, we're going to double up. Yeah, on a practical point of it, we have the double trucks now. Quite literally. The circular Waste Management is going to send a truck that's just picking up recycling. And that's going to be a full truck. And you've got Waste Management who's picking up our garbage. That's going to be a full truck. It used to be we had, you know, 2 trucks to pick up the waste and the recycling. Now we've got 2 trucks. One picks up the recycling, one picks up the waste. I don't see it being, you know, yeah, it's going to look like, but in the end, I agree with Joyce. It is going to be just a wash as far as trucks go. The difference is instead of a blue box, you're going to have a big gumbly. I find it interesting that, you know, the blue box is circular motion is saying, well, you guys figure it. They're not recyclable, or recycling boxes aren't recyclable. Just little nuance that I thought of it, but yeah. Anyways, the report is there. Changing times, and it's always a challenge when things change. So we'll look forward. Anything else? Joyce, go ahead.
Again, I'm hoping I'm not getting off topic, but
Jamie
There
will
is-
tell you if you are.
there is a savings, you're saying, with the new circular blue box system in our garbage, or in our recycling collection. Did we just take it then to continue to just offset the waste management expenditures? Or is there a way we could maybe take that money that we're saving and put it into reserve? Maybe it's too late now, but I'm thinking, but again, it's getting into our topic when we have it with item 10.6, that maybe this item could be addressed then. But I was just kind of wondering where that money's being utilized, the savings of that money.
Gary?
As part of budget deliberations, that was removed from our budget, the cost of the recycling contract. So that was removed from the budget. So we didn't raise the dollars, $200,000 and not spend it. We just didn't raise it for that expenditure.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew CMO was taking it over and we wouldn't have that cost. So it was removed from our budget during deliberations.
Okay. Joyce, again?
So there was a definite cost savings overall in our waste management, though, with just removing it. Yeah, it's too bad at the time we wouldn't have thought, let's take that money, set it aside for what if needs kind of thing. But anyway, it's too late now. Thank you for that.
Pay me now, pay me later. Okay. So the recommendation is theirs to receive this report for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Hutchison, second by Councillor Townsend. Any other comments on the recommendation? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Thank you very much, Nicole. Don't go too far. We might need you again here shortly. Director of Infrastructure, 10.3.1. You want to talk about bridges, Mr. Aiken? A very topical topic here in West Grey. Bridges. But you're going to fix this one.
We're going to try to. We'd certainly like to.
Your report, please. Go ahead.
So what we learned during our winter control season that recently ended is the value of this structure. In our bridge prioritization study, it does show at the end of its life, we consider closing it. The issue with the bridge right now primarily is just the deck. The remaining components of the bridge itself are in fair to good shape. With the bridge being out of service, we were late getting to some of the concession roads this winter. They were snow packed. It was difficult for snow removal. We were pushing the minimum maintenance standards. I believe there is a significant value in getting this structure back into service. The contractor you recently approved to make a repair on N56 has submitted a price that is better than what we would have expected if we had gone out to tender. I believe there's a financial advantage and a pretty significant operational advantage to get the bridge back into service. We did look at the financing that was presented as part of the bridge prioritization study. Apologize for that. Not saying the word correctly. I mean, it does fit, it does work, and it does not compromise any of the plans moving forward.
Okay. Any questions on this? Recommendation is there for Bridge 55. Anybody wants to move that? Moved by Councillor Hutchison, second by Councillor Townsend. And comments, go ahead, Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, just in your report, I think it's a win-win situation. I think it's great if anytime we can fix a bridge and go ahead and let's do it. I just wondered about the EG 001. I think I know where that is. That's basically we replaced the culvert. Is that what that was in terms of going ahead and doing it in-house?
Yes, that's correct. That's on the former Egremont, Grinnell Town Line, Stonehill Road. There was an issue with the culvert that staff tackled ourselves, and I'm very proud of what my staff did there and the initiative they took to try to control future spending. So yeah, there is there is a win on that one, and internally to boot.
Okay. Any other questions on this? Go ahead, Councillor Shay.
So just for clarity, this project is anticipated to happen in this year, but we're rejigging the budget for next year to accommodate that. Did I get that correctly?
Yes, we're looking at financing it next year. The contractor, it'll be done later in the fall, and he has agreed to delay payment until the January for that. So it would be actually committing $2026.
And just hope we remember that when we start discussing the 2026 budget.
Oh, I've already been reminded of it in my budget coming forward. Yeah, this one won't be forgotten. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, so we have the recommendation there. It's moved, seconded. Any further questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right, thank you, Jeff. Back here to the agenda. Next one is on the Durham Water. I believe it is.
It would actually be for both the Durham and Amsterdam waterworks.
Right, sorry. Yep.
It's an administrative correction that needs to occur. We have people in different positions now, and we just simply need to update our commitment and endorsement with the new individuals and the new job titles. Plus, it does allow us the opportunity to incorporate our new branding.
Very good. Any questions for Jeff on this one? This language changes. Councillor Noon, Joyce?
I move that we accept the recommendation to update the staffing and the branding in the schedule in the agreement. Thank you.
That was seconded by Deputy Mayor Hutchison. Any further questions, comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's passed. Carried. And the last one, I believe, is a 10.3.3 land transfer agreement for well 1C. This is yours too, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yes, so council.
That's Mike.
My apologies. As council is aware, we did in agreement with the county, drill a new well for the Durham Waterworks on county-owned property with the idea that if we found adequate quantity and quality, we would enter into agreement to purchase the land. We're satisfied with the quantity and quality for servicing Durham, and the county and municipal staff have worked on the land transfer agreement to finalize the sale. We would be in ownership of the land where the well is.
Excellent. Any questions, comments? Councillor Hutchison? Doug?
Yeah, I think that's great. It serves our water needs, and anytime we can buy land for $2 plus tax, I think we should go for it. So if any county has any more of those deals, well, bring them on.
Yeah, we've got a couple. Councillor Noon.
Thank you. So this well, like it would be an addition of water being utilized. It wouldn't be like that it's the well that we use when needed, like if the other well wasn't enough to handle the town of Durham anymore, like how does that work?
So we anticipate with the full build out of Durham proper, there would not have been enough water capacity with the existing production wells. This will be an additional production well to ensure that with full build out of Durham, we will have adequate water supply. I would not view it as a backup, or you could view it as there is one duty and two backups that come on sequentially. But essentially, it is essentially an additional production well to ensure capacity.
I guess I just don't understand the technical part, like how all this, like I guess it just works that water's coming from this well and this well to utilize wherever it's needed. Like I don't know how that all works with several wells in being used.
Yeah, so we're getting a little bit of nitty gritty detail here, and I'm happy to provide a bit more detail if you have time some afternoon. But essentially, our system works under pressure. The water flows where it needs to flow. Combination from one of the two pump houses or from the standpipe and concrete reservoir. The water levels within the standpipe and the reservoir tell the well pumps when to come on and how many need to come on at one time. We expect with the full build out of Durham, we needed the extra water to ensure we can make it work.
Good with that. We have any further questions on the land transfer? Go ahead, Jeff.
I enjoy the nitty gritty detail here, Jeff. But this well will be serviced by the existing pump nearby? Or will it have its own pump house?
We will be installing a submersible pump, and then it will be pumped to pump house 1 on South Street over by Tim Hortons. There will be a renovation, likely in addition to the pump house to make all of the new equipment work. But yeah, it'll go to, we're not building a brand new pump house from scratch to this one.
Okay. Anything else on the land transfer? Not the transfer of water, but the transfer of land. Go ahead. All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor moves that. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Forrester. Thanks, Scott. All right. And no other questions on this. Great working with the county on that. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. Thank you, Jeff. That brings us down to 10.4. And 10.4.1. Carl. Subdivision, sale of lands. We're buying land, we're selling land.
Well, yeah, hopefully selling some land. Maybe if we could bring up the site plan of the subdivision that we're proposing. This is not a new subdivision that councils, they have seen this plan before. It's anyway, we'll get that site plan up, but it's not a new plan. It's we've seen the plan before, but we're proposing that there was some discussion at the previous meeting when we brought this proposal forward that council would like staff to do some investigation on not just potentially selling the lots for full sale value, but what is options for possibly low income, attainable, all those different terms, and what's available and what's not. Myself and Mr. Smith, our planner, have had quite a few conversations, as well as our CAO, about what the municipality needs, what we have. And we sort of determined that there were hundreds of different options. There's all kinds of different things, and to provide a report that would be fulsome would either be too long or too complicated. And the intent was that we would try to narrow the focus of the investigation down a little bit, as well as being able to, makes the municipality some profit to be able to sell lands to offset the cost of the police station construction and the construction of this subdivision. So our recommendation is, and through discussion with primarily the County of Gray in their housing task force and things like that, we've had some discussions on what the best options for are. Their main interest and through some discussions with other stakeholders, that the ideal position would be for some, possibly lower rent or lower income housing would be for with the apartment building, that would be a lot easier to do on that lot. So our intent is that we would narrow our focus on that lot to bring proposals for that property, whether it's an apartment building or townhouses or whatever happens to be on that lot, either through the county or with the county support or with other options. But then the lots 1 to 27 on the attached plan would be sold in 4 blocks. So you can see there's on that plan, there's 6 lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which would be the top 6 lots on the left side of the page. And then there is a stormwater drain that comes through there. So that would be the dividing line. And then the bottom 7 lots would be sold as a group. And then the lots going along the southern end there on the east-west road would be sold in 2 blocks as well. The intent in selling them as blocks, if we just sold them as individual lots, then the individual property owners would only be able to sell single-family homes. The intent is that we want more townhouse semis, possibly a couple of singles, but mostly townhouses and semis, based on the lot sizes, so that the purchasers would have to purchase more than 1 lot to be able to do that. So it makes it a little bit easier for the purchasers to buy them in blocks, and then they could do, if they had to sell a block of 6, they could do 4-unit townhouse and 2 semis. They could do 6-unit townhouse. It would be up to them at that point, but they would have to build the 6 units. Again, we propose buyback clauses in the sale. If they don't, they would have to build within a certain amount of time. All those things that we normally do in our property sales, but the intent is that we would sell them through a real estate agent for full market value for those 27 lots, or best price we can get, and then we would keep that apartment block for future, whatever options are available. And that report for that block would come back at a later date after some more investigation.
Any questions? Councillor Hutchison, start us off.
Yeah, so to me, some of the ideal type of housing would be something along the seniors, 6-plex, that type thing, maybe no foundation sort of thing. But I don't know whether we can put any criteria, any stipulation in terms of type of housing. My other concern would be, what does it look like? Like the first 6 might be semis or duplexes, but then they look altogether different from the next 6 or 7 lots, and then the next 6 or 7 look altogether different again. Is it going to be like a mishmash that doesn't suit the eye appeal or whatever? Like, I don't know can we put any stipulations in terms of colors and size and who knows what? So I'm just wondering about that.
As for your first question, thanks for the question. As far as whether the age of the people that we sell to, the only way the municipality would do that is if we intend to develop the properties on our own, and then we choose who we sell those properties to. If we sell the vacant land, we can't dictate to that seller who would, and even if you did try to do it through some type of development agreement, that would only apply to the first buyer. So you could say, well, your intent is to sell to seniors, whatever age that is, 50 and over or whatever, then, but that would only apply to the first buyer. That buyer then could turn around the next week and sell it to whoever they want. You can't control future buyers. It's only first buyer. So that, I don't know that that's an ideal option. And I understand that the option, if council chooses, we could sell the entire development to one buyer. It does limit the buyers that would be available and available funds that would be able to buy the entire development. And then there's no guarantee that they would necessarily build all the same houses either. I know in the Welton subdivision up here at the north end of town, there are two separate distinct builders in there. And I don't know that I walk through that subdivision or go through there and think that, that there's drastic difference between construction. I wouldn't recommend trying to dictate colors and things like that. It gets to be very difficult, if not impossible now with not permitting site plan agreements on properties with 10 units or less. And this wouldn't, even though there's more than 10 units in this, it's 10 units on one property. So there's really only 1 unit per property on this. Other than the apartment block would be more than 10 units, so there could be site plan control on it.
Councillor Townsend. Doug?
Thank you. A couple things with this. First off, what you call in the apartment block. I think if I remember right from previous discussions, that was probably the last thing we wanted in there was an apartment building. And I think that's the last thing the police wanted in there was an apartment building. I think we should also be looking at retaining some land for probably a future fire hall. The municipality has land now. Why don't we retain some of it that could be utilized for a fire hall or some other building down the road, then go out at the time we need it and then have to purchase additional lands again at who knows what cost. And as for, I'd like to see us do more maybe with Habitat for Humanity and some of those things on some of these lots. To say we're going to retain and have one lot that we're going to do something with, to me, is not doing anything to help the housing crisis and help low-income housing. I mean, we have a golden opportunity here to utilize this land and to actually maybe make not a huge dent, but a small dent in the housing crisis that exists in this part of the province. And we just want to turn around and sell it to a developer and get the biggest buck and make a run for it. And I don't think we're doing the best justice for our citizens and everything by doing that. Thank you.
Michelle, want to take a stab at that one? Go ahead, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, because it's not overly technical, more ethereal. I can speak to philosophical. I'll start out by saying, related to your comments about the apartment block specifically, Carl has mentioned in his report that for that particular block of land that the municipality may want to also retain it for future municipal needs and or to support growth projections. We're not quite sure what that might be, but we have an opportunity. We have land there. Related to the affordable housing, and I think this speaks to why Carl has presented this report this way, especially related to that one block that we are recommending retaining. As you've alluded to there, the affordable housing scenario is complex, and there are so many options, including Habitat for Humanity, because we talked about that. We've talked about whose role and responsibility is it to start looking at affordable housing. The county has responsibility there, and, do we need it? Do we work in partnership? So I think having further discussions on that is critical. We can talk about which blocks council wants to perhaps retain. Our recommendation is that one particular block. I will add, and certainly in West Grey, we are doing some analysis now on market rent, market affordability rental units. And I would argue, just anecdotally and based on the preliminary research that we've done, comparatively speaking to other municipalities within Grey County, we do not have a lack of rental housing in here that is market driven and some that is actually subsidized and affordable rent. So that's why we want to have those deep down discussions to be able to give council enough information to start to make some informed decisions. Related to the fact that it's just recommended retaining one block. We are well aware of the financial pressures and the financial impact of building the police station, which we all agree, I think most that it's an important piece of the municipality moving forward, but we also wanted to be fiscally responsible. So we thought of the blocks in question, a total of 5 blocks as it's divided, selling market rate for 4 blocks would infuse the municipality with some the capital that could be well utilized, and then retaining for these more fulsome discussions related to what the future of that block looks like.
Carl, go ahead.
And just further to things, items like Habitat for Humanity, the ultimate decision on how much we sell the properties for and who we sell the properties to is council's, right? We receive an offer, that offer comes back to council, and then council will decide who to sell to. So there's nothing stopping Habitat for Humanity for putting an offer in, even if they chose to put an offer in for $1 for a property, and then council could choose to accept that offer or not. So just we will receive offers as the sale goes on, and it would be up to council to choose whether they wanted to sell it and who they wanted to sell that to based on the price. So if somebody wanted to come forward with a proposal for something, they could bring that proposal forward, and then council could choose to purchase based on that proposal. So it doesn't, my proposal is just to go out, receive offers from the public, and then council would choose at a later date what offers they wanted to choose.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Shea. Jeff.
That's interesting. I had the impression from previous land sale discussions that we were somewhat obliged to take like the highest offer. But if you have already considered Habitat for Humanity, and thanks for bringing that up, Doug, I think that's an innovative. They're an interesting group, and they have some interesting strategies about capitalizing projects and fundraising. So if I don't know who would sort of plant a seed with them that this is a possibility. I don't know if you would do that, Carl, if you would leave it up to council, maybe Doug would like to reach out to someone at Habitat for Humanities about the idea of submitting a proposal. So that's a half a question. My other actual question is where are the sidewalks in this? Are they on the street front or are they along 4 or is it called Bruce Street there?
Through chair. So the sidewalks are shown on the site plan. I don't know if they're on the north side of the east-west road and the east side of the north-south road.
Nothing along the highway there.
There would be nothing along,
Okay.
nothing in it, nothing new along the highway. They would have to travel, their pedestrians could travel south to Chester Street to the sidewalk and then walk along Chester Street. There's a sidewalk currently on Chester Street.
You see that?
I wonder if there's an opportunity to put a pedestrian passageway through the end of that cul-de-sac out to the existing area where the restaurant is and the townhouses on the other side of the street there. Might be an opportunity to do a connection there, but that's sort of detail. I'll leave that with you. Thank you.
As far as Habitat for Humanity is, I do have quite a few contacts with Habitat for Humanity Owen Sound. I do a lot of volunteer work for design and code consultant with them. So I do know their project manager, so I can have a conversation if council so chooses or wants me to make that connection, that would be, I can do that.
I would appreciate that. Do we need to do anything formal, or can we just leave it with you?
I'm going to say that it'll be under direction because it'll be part of, we're going forward to putting this out, notification, and that will be one of them that would be, some type of notification that they will understand it. So I don't think we need a formal agreement to single one individual group out. They're going to hear about it. Okay. What is the recommendation there? Have you seen this? I'm going to bring it up here. No, sorry, the recommendation is there. And surplus to the municipality, and then we can proceed to disposal of it. Deputy Mayor Hutchison moves that recommendation. We have a seconder. Councillor Shea. Jeff? Questions on the motion? Doug?
I'm just curious about the real estate. Do we have a real estate agent that we rely on, or does that have to go to tender also? How do we determine the real estate agent that we put this to?
Who's staff thinking about using? Downtown Toronto, Sotheby's, or we look local?
Thank you. Since nobody's rushed to put their hand up on this one, I guess it's me. We have used a real estate, as you know, most recently, we had 2 industrial lots that we listed. They were smaller. Given our procurement policy, I would suggest we need to probably think about how we handle that, because there is an opportunity here for a private individual to make money on it. So we'll have to look at pre-qualification. So there is some time on this yet, because, we need to declare surplus. So if you leave that with us, we will determine the best way to do that.
Pretty good advertising. We could, get a sandwich board. Are you willing to walk up and down? Sorry, go ahead.
I have a further question with that. So I think in the past, we have a real estate agent that we rely on when it comes to getting assessment of properties. I thought we had some kind of contract at one time for people, and I don't know, like it's a yearly basis or how that works, or term basis, that we had someone that we contracted those services to, I thought.
Michelle?
Yeah, we thank you through council. I don't believe we do at this point. I think it's expired. We are talking more broadly beyond just real estate about putting out calls for suppliers of record. So we have a roster who have declared their pricing or their commission structure. This would be the type of thing that would fall. Obviously, this one is it may be a little bit different than just having a realtor who is used to dealing with individual. As we did with the industrial lands, we sought somebody who had some more experience in listing commercial and industrial land. So we'd scope that work when we went out and look at it being a preferred supplier option.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. I'm going to take a quick break before we go into the next item. I think the deputy mayor is looking at that. Yes. Okay, let's take what do we got? Be back at 10:35. Could be for refresh. Okay, call the meeting back to order. And I believe we're down to 10.5. 10.5.1. Jamie. Mr. Eckensweiler, this would be your report on amendment of delegation of powers. Jamie?
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and through you. So as noted, this report is on an amendment to the delegation of powers and duties bylaw with respect to contract awards for budgeted expenses. So as council is aware, West Gray enacted a delegation of powers and duties bylaw in February 2024. The addition of this proposed power to the delegation of powers and duties bylaw will further reduce red tape and allow for staff to execute contracts for budgeted expenses in a timely manner. As you'll see in the report, limitations have been put in place that will require staff to seek council approval before contract award should an expense come in over budget. So with respect to any budgeted expense at $1 million or more, this upset limit will be capped at 2.5%. And for expenses budgeted at $999,999 or less, the upset limit would be capped at 5%. So, and with that as well, I will just note that at any point in time, if staff receive a tender or a proposal that may seem a little bit high, but still within that threshold, we still can and likely would come to council before executing those contracts. So if council approves this amendment to the delegation of powers and duties bylaw, it will not remove staff's ability to come back to council with these items to seek approval, even if they do fall within those thresholds. So, so with that, I'd be happy to take any questions that council may have.
Looking for any questions? Joyce, start with you and then go to Jeff.
Thank you. There's times where it has been brought to council and it's over the threshold of that assumed budgeted amount. And then we have to look for, where's this money going to come from? So giving the powers to management now, how would you decipher then, where's this money going to come from? If, you know, there's nothing there in any of the GLs that the treasurer could give you guidance on that aspect.
Thank you, and through Miracles to Council. So in situations like that, if the expense is over budget, the department would be required to absorb that overage in their departmental budget. So if that couldn't be accomplished, that would be a situation where staff would come back to council, despite it being within that threshold. We would need to identify where that money could come from. So situations like that would come back to council for approval prior to being executed.
Councilor Shea.
Well, I guess I was thinking the same sort of thing, because you started off by saying, Jamie, that even if it's below the upset threshold, staff could still bring it to council. And I was wondering what would be a circumstance where a staff member who had full authority to approve something up to this limit, why would they bother bringing it to council? So you're saying it's because it's spanning departments, but wouldn't the CAO have the authority to approve something that spans departments?
It's Miracles. It's not necessarily spanning departments. In this example I gave, it was if, so for example, use the Director of Public Works because his items are often relatively large. If a bridge comes in and it's over $1 million, the budget amount is $1 million, but now all of a sudden it's within that 2.5%. If Director Aiken doesn't have that buffer room within his departmental budget, we would have to come back to council despite the fact that the overage is less than 2.5%. So it's not necessarily spanning departments. Is if the budgeted amount or if the overage can be absorbed in that departmental budget, then we would come back to council. And depending on the type of procurement as well, or the item that's being sought or the service being sought, regardless of whether or not it is within that threshold, staff may wish to come back to council just given the nature of the item. So I think Jeff's report today on the bridge was probably a good example of that. It was identified in our prioritization program as not being high. However, there was an opportunity where we could get this bridge constructed this year, alleviating some other issues. And I recognize that this was not budgeted for. However, in the event that it was, and there was a bit of an overage, it's still a bit of a good news story in that sense. So depending on the type of purchase, we still may want to exercise our obligation, or our right rather, to come to council with those items prior to executing those contracts.
So not wishing to be argumentative, but I think that the example today would have exceeded the upset limit anyway and would have required that it come to council. And you're saying that staff would still have the right to bring things to council. Of course, staff has the right to bring things to council, but the duty to bring things to council if there was not, departmental flexibility to absorb the cost is not articulated here. And I'm wondering if, since you're referencing that, if maybe it should be articulated.
Thank you. And if I may just sort of add, and maybe we need to Councillor Shea's point, maybe clarify the language a little bit, but the intent is, so first of all, the budget annually is council's biggest policy document. So that is our general approval to move forward, or pre-approval to move forward with projects that council has approved. Every director and manager within the municipality has a responsibility as well to manage their budget and come within their budget. They do not have authority to exceed their budget. So while this may, and we may need to look at the language, but I think what the clerk has asked here in this is that if we can absorb that internally within our budgets and it falls within those parameters, we would like to be able to expedite processes, execute contracts. If it's been pre-approved for the budget, we can absorb any potential overages within that framework that we could choose to execute a contract without coming to council for it, though reserve the right if we thought, and I will just say $1 million contract, even within the 2.5%, I would suspect a contract of that size, virtually anybody here that I work with on a day-to-day basis would likely want to bring that back, even if they had room to absorb it in their budget, because that's a big ticket item.
Well, then I think the policy should say that.
Three Miracles, and I'll just take this moment to say this is why it's always a good idea to have these discussions before the bylaws brought forward, so that we can make those changes before presenting that final piece of legislation before council for approval. And certainly, Councillor Shea, that is something that we can work into that in the notes of that section, being that the upset limit, in addition, the expense must be able to be absorbed within that departmental budget as well, just for clarity, so everyone's aware, the public's aware, staff is aware, council is aware too. There's no ambiguity, and it's very black and white right in front of whoever it is that's exercising that power.
Questions? I was thinking one other spot where it might be, Jeff, is a multi-year contract budget, budgeted item type of thing. That, yeah, it's a little bit over, but it continues on into, and I think that that's something that, because it's committing other budgets, if it's 2.5% over, but I guess waste management coming up might be one of them. We deal with a 4 or 5 year contract, but it's just a little bit, but if it's a multi-year, that should be something that comes back as well too. Didn't get thinking about that. So take that in as a note. That would be one of the times when it should come back with committing the budget. All right. The recommendation here isn't to put this into play. It's put the bylaw, bring the bylaw in front of us, the amendment. So we'll see at that point in time. It's not approving. It's just giving Jamie the direction to make those amendments and bring it back to us at a further council meeting. I think you're looking obviously sometime in July now. We'll see that back. And that's where, to your points, Jeff and Joyce, that they be included in there too, using your words, Jamie, so that there's no ambiguity. Just use confusion, like really. My God. Yeah, English is my second language some days. Okay. We have not moved it, moved yet. Do we have somebody want to move the recommendation? Councillor Shay and Councillor Noon. Thank you. All right. That the amendments to the bylaw be brought forward at a further meeting. Any other questions, comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Back to the agenda. I think that's all that you have, Jamie. 10.6, 10.6.1. This will be Michelle. CEO Harris, you're managing household waste.
Thank you. Well, I will not be managing household waste, but wanted to bring this forward. As you know, the municipality of West Grey currently provides bi-weekly curbside collection of household solid waste through a third-party service provider. And that contract with that service provider expires at the end of June 2026. We also, for our current collection process, we charge our users of that system $3.50 for every bag or container they place at the curb for collection. You also are aware, as of the previous report in today's agenda, that we are no longer, as of January 1st, responsible for Blue Box collection of eligible materials. So that has been removed from our current budget, and we are not providing that service. It's being done through CMO. Since I've arrived here and I've had lots of discussions with council members, that council has expressed interest in being innovative and looking at perhaps are there other options there for managing solid household waste. So we are recommending that we put out a request for proposals, not for quotations, on options for managing household solid waste. We are not saying collection. That could be proposals that come forward, but we think there may be providers out there who may have other solutions. And I think it's incumbent upon us as staff to take into what we've heard from council and bring back to this table options that might be out there for how we manage household solid waste in the municipality. So if council agrees with this proposal, we will prepare that request for proposal. We'd like to get it out as soon as we can in July, with submissions hopefully by August or the end of August, that we can bring something back to you and have a decision by September, because whatever happens, we know there will likely need to be some kind of transition happening. And we want to make sure that we set whatever option it is up for success. So if we had a decision by the beginning of January, we would have 6 months to implement any new system.
Okay. Any questions on where we're going on this? Councillor Atchison.
Yeah, just one that I have, and it notes in here that the whole aspect of organics, and we're just wondering how that's going to fit in. Is that going to be part of this proposal? As it says here, the province is indicating growing desire to separate organic materials at the source from the general waste stream, and initiating and intimating that organic food waste may no longer be permitted in landfills at some point in the future. So I'm thinking that maybe this is the time that we start looking at some kind of organic waste collection system or whatever. So maybe that can be part of this proposal. I'm not sure. Is there any thoughts on that?
Thank you. There have been lots of thoughts on that. And in fact, the environmental officer and I talked, I think this morning about it, that since the time of even writing this report, the province may be backing off on the organic piece. However, that doesn't mean we don't think it's a viable thing to consider. And we have to look at managing our landfill capacity, et cetera. So these would be things that we would like to include in our request for proposal. And in fairness, we are going to make this fairly broad because we don't pretend that we have all the answers, and we are looking for innovative options. And I do think the management of organic waste should be included in this for consideration.
Further, Doug.
So yeah, I agree. And maybe not, it's not so much of an issue for the rural community because they've got lots of space, and I think for farms, they probably throw a lot of their organic waste to the chickens or whatever. But in town, it becomes an issue, and then they know that 40 to 50% of our waste is organic. Just knowing from my own household and family that people throw a lot of stuff like peelings and whatnot in the garbage, which doesn't need to go in the garbage. So if we can get that out of the garbage, that'll definitely help us. And there are other processes too, besides using composters. There's in-house ones, and people have seen them at the seminars and that we go to, where they have these things that you can. It looks like, any other household tool that you have sitting on your counter. You can put your organic waste in there, and it becomes soil eventually, and throw it in your garden. So there's options out there. So I think it's something we definitely should pursue in the future.
Further, Jeff, Councillor Shea. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is a good initiative. So come January, there will be no more blue box collection at businesses, commercial institutions generally, or municipal facilities. So starting in January, all the Main Street businesses have to start throwing their recycling into the garbage, I believe.
Thank you, if I may, and that we hope they do not start throwing their recycling materials into the garbage. So we will be coming back with a separate report on that. There are options on what can be done. I do know jurisdictions where their BIAs are taking this on, and we know a lot of private businesses who have considerable amounts have private collection for that. There are also municipalities where the municipality has made a decision to take that on. So again, given the complexity of this recycling and solid waste management issue, the next report, we're kind of breadcrumbing it along, and the next report will speak to options that we may want to consider, or council may want to consider, for managing of those non-eligible recycling.
Once more, further.
Just a little kink in that also is it notes here that it says on January 1st that farms will be included in the non-eligible resources. So that's going to be a challenge, farms, I think.
Oh, I think Nicole.
Yes. Just for clarification on that, the regs do stipulate commercial farms. So that does not mean every farm, and we do have a very small number of commercial farms in West Grey.
So there is a definition of commercial farms and large agricultural farms.
Yes.
I can't wait to see that one. Joyce.
Kind of a spin-off from Councillor Shea asking about starting in January 1. Currently, though, the bins set up at the landfill sites with recycling, is the Blue Box Circular taking those at no cost, or is that a cost to the municipality currently for them to take those because it's not curbside?
Thank you for the question. There was a report last year where council agreed that the municipality would act as a contractor to circular materials. That means that staff is managing those front end bins at the sites on behalf of circular materials. So we're receiving payment to do so, and means we're making sure there's no contamination going into them. In addition to that, there are 2 bins for businesses at each of the Durham and Bentic sites, one for commingled recyclables, so paper and containers, and one more for cardboard. That is only for businesses. Those were a separate stream, and those are identified when folks come to the scale.
Anything else on this as we move forward? All right, there's a recommendation there, that basically we're going out for an RFP on options for managing solid waste. And I'm gonna just, do we go with solid waste or is organic, as Councillor Hutchison is kind of in there? Is that included?
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
I have heard organic. We have it in our notes. I have been trying to get the right words and I have been informed that household solid waste is how it's referred to. So I will take the experts' guidance on this and we will consider organics within that.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Councillor Newt, Joyce? That was. Nope, okay. All right. Let me look again. Councillor Newt, Joyce?
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
When you're sending out RFPs, what if somebody initiative would want to take on a new business? How do you reach that clientele? Like if you're going to like privatize it, or not privatize it, but someone else that maybe want to continue the blue box, like the small blue box, and work with the markets and so on and so forth. How do you reach that clientele?
So thank you for the question and through the mayor to council. Just to confirm, we will not be going out for blue box. We will be at this stage, we are going out for household solid waste. That will be the RFP for this. What we will do is put it through our channels if we are aware of contractors. In fact, there was somebody in the package today that Councillor Hutchinson referenced. We will likely shoot, if we're aware of somebody, I would encourage any council member as well, if you're aware, but we can't commit to catching everybody. So we will promote as best we can. The same, depending what council agrees to do with the non-eligible when we bring forward a report. If there's an option for some kind of private business to do it, we will solicit options if that's council's direction and encourage any of you or anybody in the community, if they know of businesses who might have solutions or providers, that they share this information with them.
One of your options is in-house management of household solid waste. So how would you get those numbers? Like, could you refer to Southgate to get those type of numbers?
Thank you. And I take zero credit for this. Director Aitken did some considerable outreach to other municipalities who do that. And there's not many, but most particularly in our area, obviously Southgate is the one that immediately comes to mind. And, you know, the potential operational savings would likely not be realized as we've investigated till probably at least 10 years. And that's a big if. And there would be significant capital outlay. We'd have to hire staff. And given the size of this municipality, unless there was some kind of joint county, and I probably should not say that, but a broader regional initiative, I think that's far beyond the scope and capacity of a municipality of this size to take on at this stage in our business evolution. I think Southgate got in earlier, they've got equipment, et cetera, but I think it's not a recommended solution.
Okay, Councillor Deputy Mayor Hutchison moves it, seconder. Councillor Forrester. Okay. Go to an RFP. I think it's just good business that we take a look at this point in time as we're moving forward with the options, see what is out there. All right, any other comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. All right. I think that's it for staff reports. That brings us down to number 11. Questions? Anybody have any questions on Any council member? Move on before we get too carried away then. Motions, which notice was previously given. Have none of those. Notice of motion. Anybody have a notice of motion? No? No? Announcements. Councillor Forrester. Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you. The Saturday, June 21st at the Newstead Lions Park is the Newstead Market. It's happening from 11 to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Good. Councillor Townsend. No?
This Sunday, the Durham firefighters are hosting a breakfast at the, what do we call it? The Lions Park there at the Walkway Bridge. I believe that's where it's happening.
Yeah, Lions Heritage Park. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's where it's happening. 9 till noon.
Excellent. And if I could, I guess you're talking about that bridge. It's good that there's a breakfast there because on Saturday evening, there is still scheduled for the Lions dinner on the bridge with live music and very formal affair. I believe there's still a few tickets left. Not many, but yeah, very unique experience. Lions Club was not once before. I'm doing it again this Friday or this Saturday, which was, I think, a few individuals 2 years ago were there and found it very good. I'm going to take the advantage. I got a thank you note the other day, and some of the councillors have seen it, to mayor, councillors, and staff of the municipality of West Grey. Thank you all so much for your support of the West Grey Youth Centre. And that's signed by a number of them that are working at the youth centre for our support. So I thought that was very well put there, that we have a thank you note come in, not only to council, but staff and everyone. Unique. Any other announcements? I think the breakfast, the fireman's breakfast, the buy donation or tickets are, I think it's donation. Yeah. Very similar to the one a couple of weeks ago in Elmwood. They'll have a fireman's boot out there and you can drop in what you can. Okay. That's it for those. Closed session. I believe we do have one item under a closed session. So I'll need a motion to move into closed to deal with what is it there? There we go. I need a motion that council knows go in closed session to discuss the minutes of the closed session of the regular council meeting held on June 3rd, 2025, and the minutes of the closed session special council meeting on June 10th, 2025, and one matter regarding proposed or pending disposition of land by the municipality respecting lands in the Newstead Industrial Park. Do we have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Noon, seconded by Councillor Townsend. Thank you. Moving into count. All those in favor? Closed session. That is approved. And, CEO. right, Ms. Noble, we're back. There we are. Reporting out of closed session, welcome back. During closed session, council reviewed the minutes of the closed session of the regular council meeting held on June 3rd, 2025, and the minutes of the closed session of the special council meeting held on June 10th, 2025, and discussed one matter regarding a proposed or pending disposition of land by the municipality, and direction was given. Thank you on that. That should be just put in. Oh, sorry. Yes, and we do have one bylaw. Confirming bylaw from today's activities. I need a mover for that. Moved by Councillor Hutchison, seconded by Councillor Townsend. Doug. Questions on that motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. That's it. With all business completed on the agenda, I'll move that we stand adjourned. And we'll see everybody at 2:00 for